When I first heard that this show was being developed, I have to admit I wasn't particularly excited or irritated, mostly because it wasn't one of the stories of Westeros that I had any particular interest in. And after seeing how HBO has completely fumbled the Dance of the Dragons with House of the Dragon, I wasn't even planning to watch this series, but I figured this show would wind up being at least mildly popular, so I decided to cover it here for you guys, so here we are. And the first thing I'll say is that the show doesn't appear to take itself as seriously as the Game of Thrones shows that have preceded it, which I think is a mistake. I didn't really like all the quick flashbacks because I think they were mostly used as a comedic device, which I thought only added to the unseriousness that was pervasive in this particular episode and in the series so far. Despite that fact, I do think that the writing at large has been fairly clean to this point. It feels like they took the episode straight from the books, which I think is the right decision in this case because given the other GOT adaptations, I think they all fell off once the writers decided to depart from the original source material. I thought the casting here was pretty good so far, but I mean, it's a GOT show, so I know there was no shortage of actors dying to be a part of this series. I also thought the writers managed to both capture the budding friendship between Dunk and Egg, in addition to establishing the pair as the ultimate underdogs, and thus we have someplace to go this season. That said, I can't give them too much credit because, again, all they're doing is adapting a finished book by George R.R. Martin. I guess my point is, it's hard to fail a test when you've got all the answers, even though, again, at this point, we've seen HBO do just that with shows that have come before. Now, to this point, only one episode in, I'd give this series an 80%, or an 8.0 out of 10 if you're thinking IMDb score, essentially a B for a letter grade. After watching this first episode and finding out that the runtimes of these episodes are all pretty short, and wondering if this miniseries is going to be ongoing or not, I'm left to wonder if this series might have been better off a movie instead. I guess only time will tell there. My hope is that this series will settle into itself and make an attempt to tell a serious story because I'm in no mood for a comedy of this sort. You guys remember that Dan and Dave tried their hand at stand-up comedy in the last season of Game of Thrones, and it failed spectacularly. This show is already on thin ice with me, given the major missteps I think it's already taken, and I know there's lots of GOT stands that will simply rubber stamp anything HBO puts out that happens to be Westeros related, but that's not me. Dunk and Egg are already minor characters on my list of characters from Westerosi history that I have interest in, so this story is going to have to be in order to keep me on the bandwagon.